There's a crew in town, the head hillbillies are making their rounds. Small town whispers loud and clear, the sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair.
Sheriff got a secret he won't keep, judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell, dark pass away, get the sound of a shotgun shell.
All the secrets spill on down, voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground, rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Neighbors hide behind their blinds, whisper tales of troubled minds. Skeletons covering the mountainside, a treacherous reality in the pines.
Winter reveals the hidden lies, moonlight couldn't mask the cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies, there's no cover, no disguise. All the secrets spill on down, voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground, rumors fly and they can't be
Hello. Welcome in. Hello, everybody. How are you? I'm sorry we're a little bit late this evening, but that's okay. Tonight is a absolutely huge. This is just huge. All right, so tonight I need you to picture a jail. Okay, I want you to picture a jail that follows a person home. Not a jail made out of concrete blocks. Not a jail with steel bars. A jail made out of power. A woman is technically released. She has walked through the door. She's back in the real world. But she has been placed on house arrest. And she has an ankle monitor that she can't afford. And the man assigned to supervise her can decide. He has the ability. He can decide whether she wears that monitor or not. He can decide whether she must pay the fee associated with it or not. He can report her for a violation or not. He can initiate the paperwork that sends her back to jail or not. He can file an escape warrant and put her right back in there. He can bury her under the jail if he chose to. And according to a federal court record, that man tells her they might be able to work something out. Now, let me be clear. about what happened next. Former court security officer Ben Fields eventually admitted that he allowed Miss Sabrina Adkins to avoid the weekly home incarceration fee and go without the ankle monitor in exchange for sexual favors. Now, he admitted meeting her before court to put the monitor back on her ankle. He admitted to removing it again after court. And when he could not provide her location information to her judge, he then admitted obtaining a false sworn criminal complaint to cover up that arrangement. Well, excuse you.
I will.
Now, that ain't somebody's interpretation, okay? That is in the federal court record. And in reviewing that case, the federal judge wrote that Fields held the strings on whether Sabrina Adkins would return to jail. Actually, I think that was a state. I don't think that was federal. That was a state case. But think about that sentence. He held the strings, her housing, her fees, her monitor, her freedom, her fear of returning to jail, and ultimately the paperwork that could put her back there. The jail did not have to be the room where the sexual acts took place, okay? But we've heard plenty of rumors and whispers that plenty happened in that jail. They had like a closet room or some kind of a room down there that they say guards would take inmates in and have whoopee time. Now, the meetings were alleged to have happened after hours inside Judge Kevin Mullins' chambers, but the jail was always present, right? The jail was standing in that room even when the jail building. Now, the jail was the threat. The jail was the leverage. And now, nearly 2 years after Judge Mullins was killed and Mickey Stines was charged with murder, Caroline Stines, Mickey's wife, has stepped into the public conversation with a series of questions, all her own. What if more threats were made that caused Mickey not to sleep for a week? What if he had been warning people all along? What if there are documented letters proving that he reported it? Mickey was a mandated reporter, you know. Everybody up there, I think, pretty much is. Was he the only one in the entire state of people who knew what was going on with Judge Mullins personally? What if there are documented letters? And while those questions are spreading across the internet, Mickey Stines' lawyers have filed a notice that they are appealing the decision that denied him bond. So tonight, we are putting those developments beside the record we already have, not because Caroline's video proves what happened in that courthouse. It does not. But because this appeal, not because a bond appeal proves Mickey Stines is innocent. It does not. And not because misconduct by anybody else would automatically justify the killing of Kevin Mullins. It would not. We are putting these matters beside each other because they all touch the same unanswered question. Who knew what, and when did they know it? What was put in writing, and what happened to the people who tried to speak up? When we hear the words organized crime, most people picture a mob boss in an expensive suit, black cars, big limousines, secret handshakes, and envelopes just full of cash. But what would organized abuse of power look like in a small Appalachian town? What if it looked ordinary? What if it looked like a badge? What if it looked like a courthouse key? What if it looked like an ankle monitor? What if it looked like campaigns that were stacked so that they never had an opponent? Right? We're just going to create the social that if you dare run against somebody, you're done. You're blacklisted. You'll never work in the county again. And then every time, look at our county attorney, Jamie Hatton. There has not been anybody run against Jamie Hatton since Harold Bolin. Harold Bolin was the last person that had enough nerve to run against him. And now that he has finally decided he's not going to run again, only now does Michael Watts dare to run. But Michael Watts and Jamie Hatton are law partners in a private law practice. So you are the county attorney, and then you've got the Commonwealth attorney, who I think also has a private practice. Michael Watts is the assistant county and Commonwealth. He's worked in both courts for ever since he's been there, which we like Michael, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that that's right. I don't think that, a county election, especially for as many years as what it's happened, I just don't think that's right. And I think that shows a level of coordination. I think that shows a level of cooperation that happens that way. That's not how an election is supposed to be. It's fixed. So what if the currency was not always cash? What if the currency was freedom? A fee waived, a violation ignored, a charge filed, a warrant obtained, a reputation protected, a woman silenced. And what if the people who technically made it out of jail never truly got free? What if they carried those bars home? What if the lock became the guilt? And what if the cell became shame? And what if the people responsible understood that shame would keep a victim quieter than any courthouse order ever could? So that's where we're going tonight. First, we're going to watch Caroline's video, and we're going to examine exactly what she said. Second, we're going to look at the expedited bond appeal and explain what the Court of Appeals is actually being asked to do. Then we're going to walk backward through the documented federal record to examine how jail, home incarceration, monitoring, courthouse access, and official paperwork could become one connected chain of control. because a courthouse does not have to announce that something is broken. Sometimes you can hear the break in the silence. Welcome back to Hillbilly Crime. Hello there, Mommy. How are you, Sweet Tater?
Oh, I am doing just fine. How are you doing?
I've been working. I've had a lot of good stuff happen today.
Oh, that's so good.
Breakthroughs and stuff. So that kind of makes me excited. What did you get into?
Well, I had my radio show,
Oh, yeah.
my gospel show. Oh, it's so good.
Mommy does a gospel show, you all, every Sunday
I found
on
all these
WMMT.
wonderful gospel singers. And the best ones are ones that are affiliated with churches
Mm-hmm.
because they're doing it with meaning, if you know what I'm saying. If you get Loretta Lynn to sing you a nice gospel song, she might can sing it real good, but she doesn't have
The soul.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she doesn't have the soul. But
That
you get
soul.
somebody like the Cook Duet. They, they had records published and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
they were not. But they lived at home and they went to church, and it was
Well,
two of
honey, I had me a foot stomping, praising, snot slinging time standing right here. Today, this morning, I just lifted my hands and I sang and I just praised the Lord right here. Right here. I moved my chair back.
That's just wonderful. I think that's wonderful.
Stomped and clapped my hands, and Alan and his little friend and Gregory were all asleep, and I just had me a good praising the Lord time.
Well,
sometimes you just gotta do it.
Yeah, it'll make you feel better, I guess.
Oh yeah, it sure does.
Well, I don't want to interrupt you. I don't want to interrupt your flow of your show.
Oh, well, that's all right. Thank you, Mommy, for being here. Now, and welcome to everybody else. Hello, everyone from Newton, West Virginia. So who is, not to, we'll go to there after. I got to hear all the evidence before I decide if the judge's killing was justified or not. I'm sure there is a great deal of pertinent information that has not been put out yet. I am just now realizing with this video of Caroline's, I'm just now realizing there's a whole lot that we have absolutely no idea, that it's not come out yet. Now, something that I have come to learn recently is that the gambling was a lot worse than what I initially knew. So I reckon the gambling scene down in Whitesburg is really, really, like there's a circle, and I guess every town probably has, a high stakes gambling circle. But you've got some big dogs who are in that circle who are legal eagles. And I think that that's going to play a role in the money. Gambling it's just like drug addiction, It leads to bad decisions. It leads to worse lifestyle choices, And so I think we're going to see gambling raise its head as a big factor in the money, because the money's following the money. We got to look at, were there any bribes going on? Was there any blackmail? Well, I have heard that there is someone who has a library and who has been actively collecting that library for years and years and years. And so I think if anybody was to ever get stupid and come out and try and say anything, there was a video or there was a photograph, or heck, there could have been a child born illegitimately. There's something that somebody else had to keep them quiet. Yeah, if you go tell, look what's going to happen. You're going to go down too. You're going to go down right with us. I think that was a threat. I do. Mickey was the judge's bailiff for 10 years, or probably about 15, because I think he was, well, I know he was bailiff before Judge Mullins became judge. He was actually Jim Wood. And I always want to put an S on the end of his name and say Jim Woods, but I think it's actually just Jim Wood. And let's see. So and this is a photo that I found of old Mickey. All right, so let me pull this up. I'm just going to pull up the TikTok. Let's just go to the ticker talker. Let me go over here and pull it up this way. There it is. And we're going to take a gander at this baby. Now, she did a video.
Spinning. Oh, I'm spinning high with the.
I'm going to turn that music off, though, because it gets me on, like, copyright stuff. All right. Can you see it there, Mommy?
I can see it.
All right, good. I can't see my other screen, so we're gonna.
Of what was every.
All right, let me go to the beginning. All right, so this is the second one that she did. Okay. And it says, what if? Criminal Law of Kentucky 2023. I think she just used that as a backdrop for this first, and it says Volume 1. But I don't think that she has done anything. I don't think she has done any of this like on the spur of the moment. I think this is a very thought out, planned. She knows everybody's going to see this. She knows that her husband is on trial for murder, and, you know, he probably will never come home again. If whatever Mickey knew, think about it. If you're married, do you and your husband talk about stuff like that? Do you think Mickey would have told her what was going on? You know, do you think over the years he came home from work, if he saw something that day in the judge's chambers, do you think he ever came home and was like, oh my God, Caroline, you're just not going to believe what I saw. You're not going to believe who was in there in court today. I bet she knows more than just about anybody. If Mickey came home and talked to his wife like most people do, then she knows a whole lot. And so anyway, this starts, and it's the cover, and then it says there. So what if, all right, what if there were several children conceived, and born as a result of coercion and abuse of power. Types of coercion. There's physical, using or threatening bodily harm, violence, or damage to property. There's psychological, using blackmail, emotional manipulation, guilt, or exposing secrets to create fear. Economic and legal. She put this together. She chose each one of the backgrounds. She chose each photograph very carefully. Threatening someone's job, financial stability, or using legal threats to force compliance. Well, what is one of the biggest things that they do around here is they come after your job. Like, they'll come after your job. They will come after your home. If they can make you homeless, that's all better for them. Look what they've tried to do to me for my hillbilly crime. As a system, systemically, they've tried to come after me, but it didn't work because they don't have any kind of leverage over me. You know, I'm not in any kind of drug court. I'm not in any of their programs. I never went through any of their programs. I'm not out running the roads, drinking and a drugging, and they know that. They don't own my home. I don't pay rent to none of them. And none of them employ me or employ my mother or anyone that I love. So they can't come after me in those ways. Now, they can socially isolate you. They can put smear campaigns together. They can put Facebook ultimatums up on, like Matt Butler did for me. It's very strange to me, though, that Caroline and Lila would hate me so bad and it seems to me like she's saying the same thing that I've been trying to say. It's just very surprising. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. Is that the right one? Yeah, okay. I guess that must have been, is that the end of that one? That might be the end of that one. All right, let me figure out what I'm doing here. All right, so we just watched that one, and you see she doesn't have very many on here. She's just got a few posts. And then this one. This was the first one that she did. It says, what if? It starts off the same way. What if he reported the sexual misconduct years ago? What if there are dated letters as proof? What if the very people that he was legally bound to report it to turned around and told the judge that he reported him? Threats were made and held over his head for years. The very people that he thought were trustworthy were corrupt too. There was nothing. What if? You got to put that what if in there. Sorry, let me go back. What if threats were made and held over his head for years? What if the very people that he thought were trustworthy were corrupt too? What if there was nothing he could do? What if more threats were made that caused him to not sleep for a week? He was threatened into a state of psychosis. What if? What if he was threatened into a state of psychosis? What if it's a rigged system? What if none of this has been investigated to this very day? What if everyone knew? Now, so that was the first one. And then this was the second one. Let's go back to the beginning. I'm just surprised that she's finally coming out. Now we're going to read the comments. There's only a few right here. What if there were several children conceived and born as a result of coercion and abuse of power? Threats, using legal threats to force compliance. Legal threats. Okay. Lila says, love you, Mom. And she says, not as much as I love you. And then the daughter-in-law says, yes, I'm so proud of you. You and Lila both. I've been ready to yap my jaws forever now. Keep your head up. It will all come out. Love you guys so much. Preach, sister. Do tell. My dad, before he passed away, told me about one who possibly was. From what I've seen on some videos, there were children conceived and the woman was threatened and bought off to not reveal it. Praying for you both. I thank your husband for what he did. I stand behind him. So that is what Caroline Stines is saying. Miss Michelle Davis says, I think it should be in Letcher County where the people are aware of the whole situation, not just part of it. Miss Marnie, good evening. Welcome in. Hit that like button for us, y'all. And let us know where you are watching from. I was trying to read these comments. Let's see. I'm not sure what that is about. Okay, I'll have to read that one later. Now we've got Sweet Tater here with us, but she looks like she's about to pass out. You want me?
I'm a going.
All right, Mommy. I'll see you later. I love you.
I love you.
Bye. All right. We had her for a little bit. A little bit's better than none. All right. Let us know, everybody, where you're watching from. Tell us where you're at. You don't have to give us, town or anything. Give us your state. Tell us what state you're watching from. And whether you have been here since the first Mickey Stines show or have you just found us through Caroline's video. Either way, welcome. Before we go any further, hit that thumbs up button, put a little DNA on there for us. That costs absolutely nothing, but it tells YouTube that this conversation matters and that the people following this case want document-based reporting. Now, share the show too to Facebook. Subscribe if you are new. And tonight we are aiming for our 10 $5 super chats. So if you can help, great. If you can't, don't worry about it. Because independent investigative work only survives when the people who value it help keep the lights on. Now, we have a heavy subject tonight. We are discussing sexual coercion, incarceration, homicide, and abuse of public authority. Now, I'm not going to replay the killing of Judge Mullins. We've already seen it. Everybody's seen it 1,000 times. Now, we may discuss what the court says the surveillance video shows, and stuff, but we don't need to watch it again. Not tonight anyway. What we need are the documents. So, the appeal, let me grab the appeal real fast. The appeal is over his bond. So his bond motion was denied. When you live in a small community where everybody knows everybody, and the person that you need to complain to may be connected to the person that you are complaining about, what does that do to somebody's willingness to speak? That's exactly it. That's what we're talking about. Because silence in a small town is not always agreement. Sometimes silence is arithmetic. Because people are calculating what it will cost them to speak up. What are they going to lose? Will I lose my job? Will someone file something against me? Will my child be treated differently at school? Will the police believe me? Will the judge believe me? Will the person that I report it to call the very person that I'm reporting? That's the hidden math beneath tonight's story. Now, let's begin with Caroline. Her video. Caroline did not make a conventional statement. She didn't say, here are the letters. She did not name the sender, the recipient, the date, or the contents. She asked a very simple question. What if? And that wording matters. Public clips quoting Caroline's posts include 3 questions. What if more threats were made that caused him not to sleep for a week? What if he had warned people all along? What if there were documented letters? Those questions were publicly circulated only days after the court denied bond. Now, a question is not proof, but a good question can be a road sign. It can point us toward a document. It can signal what a family believes. It can preview what attorneys may later argue. It can give us a little insight. It can also be grief, speaking publicly without the restraints of courtroom procedure. Our job is not to turn question into a fact. Our job is to identify what would convert that question into evidence. So tonight, here is what I want from any alleged letter. Number 1, who wrote it? Number 2, who received it? Number 3, what date was it written? Number 4, was it mailed, emailed, handwritten, hand-delivered, or entered through an official channel? Number 5, is there an original? Number 6, is there a screenshot? Number 7, can the sender authenticate it? Number 8, did the recipient respond? Number 9, was the letter written before September 19th, 2024? Duh, yeah. Number 10, is it already inside the discovery or the bond hearing record? And the most important question, what did Mickey allegedly warn people about? Was he warning someone about threats against his family? Was he reporting misconduct? Was he describing a deteriorating mental condition? Was he documenting fears that other people considered irrational? Was he reporting the judge? Was he reporting improper sexual conduct using the jail? What was he reporting? Was he writing to law enforcement? Did he try to report it to the state police? Is that why? And then he found out that who he reported it to, it got back to the judge? Because that's what Caroline says. Or that's what Caroline's video makes us, or gives, that's the impression that the video gives us. That's a better way to say it. Whoever he told turned around and told the judge that he reported it. So when he did that report, when he made that report and he turned that in, did it get shredded? Did whoever he turned it to, turned it into, did they make it disappear on their end? Does it still exist anywhere? Well, now, if Caroline says that there's dated letters, hopefully she's got the originals. Was he smart enough to do that? Who would he have spoken to even talk about this? He sure wasn't going to go to Daniel Dotson. Daniel Dotson escorted him to his deposition, stood over top of him during his deposition, made sure that he didn't say too much. Daniel Dotson was not his entered attorney of record. Mickey had an attorney, and it was not Daniel Dotson. But Daniel showed up for that deposition, didn't he? He sure did. Allegedly told Mickey to go unalive himself. Give him, what was it, $10,000 first. Give me 10 grand and then go unalive yourself. I think that's what he said. House 8159. Even if Mickey knew and reported it higher up the chain, he still stayed. I stayed working in that disgusting, corrupt system. Birds of a feather and all that. I think he meant he stayed. Well, that's where, money, status, social status, all of that matters to people so much. Image, we've heard that Mickey's image was very important to him. Was we have to be careful not to do the same thing with the Mickey Stines case that let me speak for myself. I have to be careful not to do the same thing that I did in the Elizabeth Siders case. I was hoping to see the best, right? I did not want to see the bad. I did not want to see that little girl guilty of the things that they were accusing her of. You know, who sees a pregnant little old girl and thinks that they're doing things like what they've alleged to have done. Now, it's just the allegation so far, but you know, I got another update on that as well. So allegedly, how they went to Gary Siders, you know, I caught it when they said that they were there to get his DNA. I caught that, but they didn't elaborate on it, so I just left it alone. I figured it maybe they were going to test it against a pair of clothing or a R kit or something. No. Oh no. Apparently, he allegedly impregnated. Yeah. He allegedly impregnated a child in his family. I'm assuming it would have been his niece. I don't know that. I don't know who it would have been, but it was a child in the family. And so that is why they needed his DNA to prove paternity. Oh, yeah. Shocker. People said it. How many people said it? I want DNA. I want to know DNA of all them kids. Well, we didn't quite realize it was going to go in that direction, right? Now, Elizabeth, as a victim, as a child, she was, I'm sure, exposed to all of this stuff, little by little, maybe. And before you know it, you're just in it up to your neck and you can't get out. Could that be what Mickey Stines, how he found himself? You know, starting out, great intentions, great guy. He's Mickey. He's Mickey Stines. You know, community guy, family man, whatever, I don't know. But wholesome, good guy, right? That's what people saw him as. Everybody just loved Mickey. But Mickey didn't fit in. Mickey didn't fit in with that crowd. Mickey fit in with the Holler Boys. He fit in with everybody else. He fit in with the Hillbillies. He didn't fit in with the educated, generational wealth, royalty, like the Hattons or Judge Mullins. Mickey wasn't of that pedigree. He didn't even know who his dad was. You know, he was raised by his grandmother. He didn't have that background to rely on and to help push him forward. So having that connection that he did with Judge Wood, you know, he credits Judge Wood with giving him his job and was like a father to him, I think he said. And I have heard Patty Wood, his wife, who is running for Whitesburg mayor. I hope she gets it. I hope she gets it. I hope she gets it. Because she's running against, you know, the beauty queen mayor. And Trying to bite my tongue. She's running against the beauty queen mayor. And I hope Patty Wood wins. I really do. Now, I don't know Patty. She's not my friend. I don't know her personally or anything, but we have a lot of mutual friends, and everybody that I do know that knows her speaks very highly of her. They all think very highly of her, and, so I think pretty highly of her because of that. So, I don't know. She could prove me wrong, but I think Patty Wood's a pretty neat lady from what I know of her. And I think that she has the knowledge. I think that she has the experience. And I think that she has just what it takes to go down there and shake Whitesburg up big time. Big time. And I think it needs it. I think it needs it. So I would love to see Pat. If you live in Whitesburg, go vote. Please go vote, because we don't go vote, the people who have their jobs and stuff down there, they all definitely go vote. So that way, they have the majority. And when you have so few people vote, it matters. One vote matters. So make sure that your voice is heard, I mean, vote for whoever you want to vote for, but make sure your voice is heard. Because if we don't have anybody to blame. When all this stuff happens and they're eating all of the federal grant money, all of our taxes up, giving them all these grants, all this free money to these multi-million-dollar established nonprofits who should be bringing in their own money by then, right? Why do they need to continue to be federally funded when they are already a $4.5 million annually, established nonprofit in this area? Now, what I see, I know this is a little bit off on a rant, I'm sorry, but I see if you got a small business idea, don't start you a small business. Start you a nonprofit around it. And as long as you've got all the right connections, you can partner with all the right people. And honey, before you know it, you're going to have a federal grant. And now we don't have to worry about running no small business. Now we get to name our own salaries. There's a lot of good perks come with it. And they've showed everybody how to do that. So now you end up with all these big nonprofits around here. ARC. Mickey was up to his neck with ARC. So was Judge Mullins. What was the big word when Mullins was killed? That ARC gave him a truck. That was the big thing. Allegedly, ARC gave Judge Mullins a new black truck. Now, he did have a new black truck, and it sat in his driveway for a long time after he died. And then one day, it was just gone. So I don't know what they did with it. I don't know who's got it. I don't know I have no idea. Never saw it again. And they never, there's nobody living in that house either. Hasn't been. Even when he died, he was the only one that was really staying there. You didn't see the family out there. I don't care what they say. I live 2 miles from the house. Passed it every day, 15 times a day. You never saw a big family, not at that time. Not around that time anyway. So I don't know what was going on, but there was a lot going on behind the scenes that people don't know about. And, personal stuff, we don't need to know about that, right? Not personal stuff. But this is going into a direction to where everything that was personal with Judge Mullins is relevant. I have a sneaking suspicion that all they would have to do is do the search warrant on his phone. How many of us know it all comes out in the phones, the phone dumps? He sure never thought he was going to die. He never thought nobody was going to come in and do that to him. It's always been rumored that he packed anyway, that he was always carrying. That was kind of the word around town, is that Mullins wore a, I'm sure it was just one of those rumors, but that he always wore an ankle thing. And he probably wore it one time, or maybe he showed somebody that he just bought one or something. Next thing you know, he was wearing it all the time. But I did get told from a former jail guard. He said that he was down there fighting with one of the inmates in the basement. And he said it was a man that was known to fight. He was real big. And he said, I found myself back there in the cell with him by myself. He said, and the next thing I knew, we started fighting. I don't remember how he said they got to fighting, but however they got to fighting. And he said, I couldn't get away from him. He said, I couldn't take him down, and I couldn't get away from him. He said, I was starting to get scared. He said, I was hollering and nobody was coming. And he said he fought and fought and fought. He said, it felt like forever. He said, and finally, he was able to get away from the guy or something. And he said, whenever I got in there, he said, I walked in, he said, and there stood the jailer, Bert Sloan, and Judge Mullins, allegedly. And it may not have even been Bert Sloan. It may have been the jailer before him, but I'm thinking that he said Bert. But he said that he comes out, and it may have been the one before Bert, McCall. It might have been McCall. I don't remember, but it was one of the two. He said that he walked out, and there stood whoever the jailer was and Mullins. And he said that he was shocked because he had been in there fighting, hollering, thinking that he might die. And the jailer and Judge Mullins were standing in there at the TV screen watching it, betting on who was going to win. And he said that Judge Mullins pulled a little .38 snub nose out of his pocket. He said he didn't have it in a holster or nothing. He said he just had it loose down in his suit pocket, And he said he pulled it out and said, well, just remind me never to get in a fight with you or something like that. Remind me never to fight you fair or something. He was just letting him know, I ain't going to fight you, I'll shoot you. Now that is a story come from a former jail guard, but I don't know why I wouldn't believe it. The same jail guard said that one day Judge Mullins called down to the jail and said, hey, why don't you send that little redhead up here? This was apparently a common thing. They would get calls from upstairs at the jail, and he'd say, hey, send so-and-so up here. Go back there and bring so-and-so up here. Inmates. So you've got jail guards, allegedly, now bringing inmates upstairs to the judge's chambers to talk to the judge about a case or whatever. How many times do you think that's happened? I mean, the jail's in the basement, and the steps are right there. You could bring an inmate up from the jail to Judge Mullins's chambers, his office, and nobody would ever see it. Nobody would, because the courtroom and everything is around to the front. And that stairwell that goes to the jail is back there in the back by itself. So if you just think about the layout of the courthouse and you think about how easy it would have been to bring people up and down from that jail. And when you've got people that are willing to do that, to break those lines, break those rules, step over those boundaries, if you've got people that are willing to do that once, what do you think's going to happen after they've been there 25 years? And they've been able to get away with it. And they've been able to rope in other people over time that have ended up participating in this. Maybe they knew that they were participating. Maybe they didn't at the beginning. But they figured it out eventually. What do you all think about it? Let's see. Philip, Janet, they have 97% conviction rating. Oh, sorry. What do y'all say? Kentucky Grammy, if your family is being threatened and worrying day and night, we all might do a lot of things that we would never have imagined, especially after it's been building over time. That's true. That's true. I don't think, this is just me personally, and we can absolutely agree to disagree, okay? Don't hate me because I say something you may not agree with. And I'm the waffle queen. I may change my mind tomorrow. But I don't think that Mickey did this out of any kind of moral stand. I don't. I think he did this out of betrayal. That's what I think. I think he did this because he was the one that was being thrown to the wolves. Ben was the first one. Ben had to fall on his sword. He had to. He had no choice. But he got out of it. Sweet deal. Sweet deal. Because Judge Mullins was alive. Remember? Judge Mullins was controlling Ben's entire case. Judge Mullins and Judge Jimmy Kraft. Both of them controlled that entire case. I don't care what judge's name was on his paperwork. That old man from Pikeville's who it was. And you know, as well as I do, that he would have done anything that Jimmy Kraft and Judge Mullins told him to do with it. You really believe that a special judge wouldn't say, hey, what do you want me to do with this case? This is your house. What do you want me to do with it? You think they don't do that? Well, I think they do. I think they do. I think they do a lot more than that. But I think that's exactly how that went down. And he got 6 months. 6 months in jail. And he got to serve it with his wife. His wife worked at the jail too. Now, how did they meet? Well, she was married to someone else to begin with, working at the jail. Here comes Ben. Ben gets him a job down there because his sister is over drug court. I don't know. He may have been doing something before that, and that's how he got the job. I don't know. But nevertheless, here he comes. And he starts working at the jail. Well, before you know it, him and whatever her name is are bumping uglies down there at the jail. So before she goes home to her husband, her and Ben are meeting up in the bathroom in the courthouse so they can bump their uglies. And then she goes home to her husband. Next thing I know, they are divorced. She marries Ben, and they both work at the jail. Happy, hunky-dory. Here we go. We're going to work at the jail. The jail and the sheriff's department, for many, 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 many years have had spouses working together. One may work at the sheriff's department, one may work at the jail. Both may work at the jail. Both may work at the sheriff's department. There have been several couples that have done that, but that's been a very big thing. Let's see. Let me get back over here to what my thing here. Oh, we were going to look at the appeal, weren't we? Let's go look at the appeal. Let me get off my tangent. Sorry. But it's all related. All of this stuff relates. Every bit of it does. And if we're ever going to understand it all, we have to talk about it. I mean, it is what it is. All right, so here's the appeal. Notice of expedited bond appeal. Notice is hereby given that Shawn M. Stines, the defendant in the above styled action, hereby appeals to the Kentucky Court of Appeals from the order denying bond entered by this court on August 11th. The name of the appellate. Well, that doesn't give us the argument. I wanted the argument. Let's see. The defense has filed notice that it is appealing the bond denial. We are still waiting for the filing that lays out the full argument. So we're still waiting on that. So, Williams says, how much participation can waddling like a duck prego actually do? I have not given up on her yet. Yeah, don't ever give up on any of them. They have to prove it in a court of law. Everything. Everybody is innocent until proven guilty legally. Miss Crystal says they need to free Mickey Stines now. Philip. Janet, in jail, there's the truth. Said in there, the common to go. Okay, I couldn't understand that. I'm sorry. I believed his cousin's testimony that he was scared to death. Yeah. That was his aunt, but yeah. She said that he was scared. I can understand where I live here. So I can understand being afraid. I'm just too stupid. I'm just too stupid not to be afraid. I'm not afraid at all. I'm covered under the blood of Jesus. God's protecting me, and I don't think twice about it. I don't never think about it, really. Now, would he have felt that way? He knew a whole lot more than I do. I just have my little show. I get out here and talk about stuff, but he knew stuff that could send people to prison. If he would have really told everything that he knew, I think everybody would have went down. And I think that that's what everybody was so afraid of. I think that that's where all the threats were coming from. And I think Daniel Dotson is connected to this from 20 years ago. That's what I think. I sure do. I think that Jamie Hatton, being the prosecutor for Judge Mullins for all these years, I think Jamie Hatton knew exactly what was going on. I think they were drinking buddies. I think that there was a lot of drinking buddies in Whitesburg. I think alcohol plays a much larger role in a lot of this. Alcohol, gambling. I think that if we are able to find out all of it, I think that we're going to uncover, and honey, we're digging. We ain't going to quit digging until we pull the last thread. Well, I guess I tried to put two different things together there. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Look here, Mr. Bala. Vote for Matt Butler. Miss Judy, bye. Officials are elected by good citizens who do not vote. My civics teacher quoted that statement in 1973. Your civics teacher was right. Miss Janet, corrupt to the core, and the rich get richer and the poor suffer. Feds need to come and stay a while. They sure do, but they won't, because they know. They already know. And if they come, if they actually did any of this investigating, they would then have to explain why they missed it all. You know, why they stayed blind all this time. Because how many people have been sending in tips to the feds all these years? I can't tell you how many people have told me that they've sent tips into the FBI tip line for years and years and years. There have been a lot of them. And, you know, you have to remember, I think that Mullins was already talking to the feds. Could Mullins have been trying to secure his freedom, his own scapegoat? Miss Deborah says, yep, Ben was the goat, but Mickey wasn't going to bend over and be thankful. And be thankful to Judge Mullins for pulling out in time for Mickey to retire in disgrace, but with his pension and health care benefits to none. Well, there you go. Mickey was not going to go down like Ben. But see, Ben got the deal of the century. Ben got the deal of the century. Ben was guilty. Ben was guilty himself. I think Ben saw what everybody else was doing, because, you know, Mullins wasn't the only one. Oh, no. No. But I think Ben saw how easy everybody else was doing it. Well, so can I. They'll never know. And so he probably hid most of it, I'd say. I'd say he probably wasn't telling nobody what he was doing. But then again, you think he wasn't telling Eccles I mean, I don't know. Maybe he didn't. But it seemed to me like him and Jason Eccles were awful close. It seemed to me like everybody on that chain, even our current sheriff, Billy Jones, he was on that text chain. He was on that work chat. Did he find that appropriate? What about the rest of the officers that were on that chain? Did they think that that was appropriate? Of course they did, because they were part of it. You got that Norris boy. He was doing it too. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't have fun. I'm not saying that you can't be funny. I laugh all the time, and I laugh very inappropriately. It's my defense mechanism. But there's a line. No way would I ever in a million years think that it would be okay or appropriate to be in a work chat, a law enforcement work chat, and take a photograph of my penis hanging out the leg of my shorts, and post that in the group chat and think that that would be appropriate. I just want to show you. I mean, what is up with that? Why do men think, and it ain't just men, it's women too. They just showing other parts of their bodies. Why do you think that I want to see that? Or not just me, but anybody. Why do people think that we want to see that? I don't want to see your shriveled up thing. And I don't, even if it ain't shriveled, I don't want to see it. And most of the women that I know feel that way. I've yet to meet one woman. Not one have I ever met that said, "Oh man, that excited me." Come on, buddy. I want to meet you. Never. Not the first time. Mm-mm. I have, however, one bigwig. We ain't talked about that yet. Mine, the one that liked to send it to me. Oh, he's a big wig. We ain't talked about that yet. He knows it's coming too. I see him sneaking, watching my stories on Facebook. So he knows it's coming. We'll just have to wait and see how it goes. Oh, I see Mr. Baker. Hello, Greg, honey. God bless you. I've been praying for you, honey. I've been a little disappointment with defense counsel in this case. Crystal says that's why the DOJ hasn't shown all the Epstein files. Crystal says it would bring the system completely down. Deborah, oh yeah, the DA's office is deep-seated evildoers. I mean, it's just sad that that's what they turned our justice system into. Deborah, he was Mullins' pimp, allegedly. Mickey was about to be the scapegoat and lose everything. What did he have to lose by cutting off the head of the snake? And somebody else just grew it, that somebody else just grew another head. I think my personal opinion is I think Mullins idolized another. I think he idolized Daniel Dotson. I think Mullins looked at Daniel as like stud muffin. He was the stud. If you ever was around Dotson and watched him, the way that he would move a room, he would move around a room. Like, I would go up to the courtroom and sit in the back sometimes whenever I'd have to go. Not like I'd just go up there and watch him. I'd be there for a reason. And I'd be sitting in the back and I'd watch him. Because, I mean, how could you miss him, right? Got his hair slicked back. And big old cowboy boots on. And he struts around the courtroom like he's just something. Like he's, the Smokey and the Bandit. What's his name? Burt Reynolds. That's who I feel like Daniel Dotson thinks he is Burt Reynolds. And he would go from woman to woman, sitting in the pews, in the thing. Put his arm around them, He'd get all up close to them and just slobber on them and stuff. It just made me sick. And then that woman, probation officer, parole officer, she's real pretty. But she's been there a long, long, long time. And she's been in the courtroom she stays in Jimmy Kraft's courtroom. And the way that he would look at her and follow her around. Now, these last several years, not so much, because they were all used to each other. But like when she first started working there with them in that courtroom, it was disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting to watch how he drooled over her right in front of everybody. I mean, I sure wasn't the only one to see that. If you'll sit back and just watch people sometimes, you'll see a lot. But we get in such a big hurry and we just let them pass right on by us. Or we'll let them double talk us. People will double talk us. Miss Carla, no, I don't think feds are coming. I don't think anybody's coming. The only way this stuff's going to be exposed is if we expose it. So the interview that I did with with the lady who came out and said that LM Mike Cottle had pretty much forced himself up against her in the child support, allegedly, office several years ago. That interview that I did with her, she tells in there about how she is very good friends and has been with Ben Gish, the owner of the Mountain Eagle, the paper that loves me so much. And she told him about what Mike Cottle had done to her years ago. They were talking about the Mickey Stines case. They were talking about Judge Mullins. And she says that she told him that she believed the women, that, And she said that he says, well, I need him to come and sit down with me. I need him to tell me about it. And she was like, well, okay, but let me tell you what he did to me. Let me tell you what Mike Cottle did to me. And she told him. Now, she says at the time she didn't want to do a story, a public story. But she still told her friend. He's friends with her husband. She's not a drug addict. Never even drank a beer in her life, which ain't very many people that can say that. And whenever that newspaper goes and puts him on the front page of the paper last week or whenever it was, praising him. And he knew what she had told him about what he did to her. And he was supposed to be her friend. With friends like these, honey, who needs enemies? I'm telling you, I learned the hard way too. I ain't got a one. Not in Letcher County. Well, I might have one, two. I ain't got many. Stanky panky. Polygon stew, baby. Hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, you know, our newspapers are not doing their job. Now, that interview has been out on my stuff, a week now. I did the first release. It was like 10 minutes long. And then I did another one. I released another one last night or this morning, early this morning, another piece on Facebook. And have you seen any other networks talk about it? No. And you won't. You won't. Will we see any other women come forward? I don't know. I had hoped before that we would, but they're all smart. They all know that even if they do come forward, nothing's going to happen. The only thing that's going to happen is that they're going to be outed. That's the only difference. If they come forward, they're outed. Nothing happens. Nada. Nothing. They're looked at bad. They might lose their job. You know, why would they want their kids to know? But now that this is coming out about the DNA, about the kids, about, you know, you can't hide your paternity. But that's only if a judge ever orders it, right? Ever. Mickey's lawyer would advise him to not talk to the feds nor state government officials. Mickey's lawyer's job is to get him the best deal he can. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder what Mickey's lawyers think about Caroline's videos. Christy Smith's mom is Letty Boggs and was working as a caregiver for a couple that gave her money to help her son. I don't know. That kind of behavior is all over this country, though. It sure is. And then the cops and the judge sit back and laugh about it. Yeah, it's an inside joke. I was told that it was like an inside joke. Anybody that knew about it, like the men that participated in it, because it wasn't just Mullins. Like I was told about this one fella, and he admitted it. Like he was confessing to somebody. And they weren't supposed to tell me about it, but they did. And so this guy said that it was him, Judge Mullins, and I'm wanting to say Mickey. But now I could be wrong on that one. It could have been somebody else. So, him, quit it. And Judge Mullins and somebody else, there were three of them. And allegedly, they were in the chambers with a girl. And they all lined up, allegedly, in a line and let the girl go, you know, from one to the next to the next. Is that true? I don't know. I have no idea. But with all the things that we've heard, would it surprise me? No, not in the least. Not in the least. This was like what we're talking about. We're talking about basically a porn or no pay, just disgusting. Just disgusting. And you think that if this is going on, that he ain't got nothing on his phone? I just do not believe that. Do not believe it. Decent and deceit are close together. They are. So do you think that Mickey is going to spill all the tea in trial? I think Caroline will come closer to spilling the tea now. I think it's going to be Caroline that tells it. Yep. Defense counsel needs to bring all this stuff out in addition to the EED, the extreme emotional disturbance, to prevail. Could you imagine if he went to court and the jury came back not guilty? Could you imagine if that was to happen? It would sure blow that prosecution's butt right out of the water. They are so egotistical. They're so arrogant. That Jackie Steele, honey, all he thinks that video is all he needs. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. But if Caroline comes out and tells everything she knows, I think we're playing on a whole new ball field. What do you think? I hope he don't take a plea deal. I say take it to trial. Well, they've got it moved. So it's going to go somewhere out west. It's not going to stay in eastern Kentucky. You can bet that. You could never get away with it in a big city, though, not like this. Too many eyes. Yep. No, in a big city, everything is way more professional. People actually believe in, these things. I think that's why I've always been so disappointed in so many things, is because I believed, like I've been talking about all these grants, the nonprofit stuff, and all these meetings, these private meetings and stuff that they've been having here in Whitesburg, all these big wigs, everybody, all the same names are involved in everything. Same names, same stuff. It's all just them. And so I've been doing my own auditing on public records, public monies. I'm doing my own independent auditing. And I'm putting it out in articles and stuff. And a few comments, people were like, well, you're just mad that you didn't do it. You're just mad that it wasn't your idea. Well, why don't you go to these meetings? We did. I've been to them. They didn't. I wasn't welcome. They didn't want me there. I was not accepted or welcomed with open arms. They did not want my presence. Ask Van Breeding. Every time I'd walk in the door, his head would look like a pimple. It'd get so red, it'd look like it's going to explode. Just because I walked in the door. Because I knew more about medically assisted treatment than he did. That's why. But anyway. Carla Dotson? Really? Oh, yuck. Stud muffin. Well, that's what Kevin saw, I think. Now, and this is just my complete speculation, total, theory. I know nothing, okay? But I think that Mullins idolized Dotson. I do. Daniel Dotson was very, or at least he thought he was. He thought he was very, or thinks that he's very smooth talker. Honey, money buys a whole lot. Money will buy you a whole lot. It can't buy some things, though. It sure can't. With Daniel Dotson, that opens the door. If anybody was to start looking down that road, look at the roles that he has filled in Whitesburg. The DRC. So you got him over all these families. You got him over all these juveniles. And if you follow those threads, or if you start pulling on those threads and you start following from his cases from when they were minors, and you see how many of them that he then took on as clients as they became adults, as they became young women, and the different cases that they found themselves with. When we start pulling all of those public records on those cases, what kind of patterns you think we're going to see? I already know. I already know a lot. There's a whole lot more I don't know. But I know a lot. And we're just going to start digging. We're going to start doing more interviews. We're going to start getting out, doing more videos. The trial will be coming up very soon. It's already been 2 years, you know. How much longer are they going to let it drag? Let's see. Caroline's questions entered the public conversation after the bond denial. And the defense has now formally notified the court that it intends to appeal that denial, which that's what it's doing. Now, that does not prove Caroline's posts are coordinated with the legal strategy, but it is reasonable to watch whether the themes overlap. Threats, warnings, loss of sleep, mental deterioration, documents, those may become issues in later filings. Now, one important distinction, though, the Court of Appeals generally reviews the record that was already created below. It does not conduct a second bond hearing with a brand new pile of evidence. So whether any alleged letter was already presented, offered, excluded, or preserved may become enormously important. Kentucky's Court of Appeals reviews the trial court record rather than retrying the case. So let me grab my closing here and we'll shut her on down. What have y'all thought? Let me know what you think about the show tonight. Did you have a good time? Now we return to Mickey Stines. Mickey was deposed in the Adkins litigation only 3 days before the September 19th shooting. His defense attorney later said that that deposition would play a very important role in the murder defense. that timing is relevant. It is not by itself proof of motive. We need to resist the temptation to make one document answer every question. The federal deposition may matter to Mickey's mental condition. It may matter to what he knew about Fields. It may matter to pressure that he was experiencing. It may matter to his state of mind in the days before the shooting, but it does not automatically tell us why he pulled the trigger. Now, Caroline is asking whether warnings and documented letters exist. So here is the evidence test. If a letter exists, does it show that Mickey warned someone about the courthouse misconduct? Does it show that he feared for his life, or that he feared threats against his family? Does it show that he was experiencing any kind of delusion? Does it show a legitimate threat? Does it show escalating paranoia? Does it show that an official received warning and failed to respond? Does it corroborate anything stated during the June bond hearing? Does it contradict another witness? Was it written before the deposition? After the deposition? Before the shooting? Was there a response, and is that response preserved? A letter could be relevant to notice. A letter could be relevant to mental state. A letter could be relevant to motive. A letter could be relevant to credibility. It could be relevant to whether somebody failed to act. But a letter does not automatically justify killing him, does it? Mm-mm. At the same time, the killing of Kevin Mullins does not erase the obligation to investigate allegations about what happened under his roof, inside his chambers, or within the justice system surrounding him. Now, those truths are not enemies. Nothing about abuse of power automatically excuses a killing. Nothing about a killing cancels the duty to investigate the abuse of power. The murder case and the system investigation overlap, but they are not the same case. One man is dead. Another man sits in jail awaiting trial. Women said the justice system used control over them, over their liberty, against their bodies. All three truths deserve a record strong enough to carry them, not a social media verdict, not a hometown loyalty test, a record. Now, here is where we end it tonight. 3 columns. Documented. Mickey Stines was denied bond on August 11th. The judge found the proof evident and the presumption great. Another mental health evaluation was ordered. The trial is being moved away from Letcher County and any adjoining county. On August 21st, the defense filed notice of an expedited bond appeal. Ben Fields admitted exchanging, monitoring, leniency for sexual favors. He admitted using false paperwork to conceal the arrangement. A federal judge found sufficient evidence for a jury to consider whether Sabrina Adkins was coerced. Alleged in court, the broader pattern involving other women. The extent of knowledge among courthouse or law enforcement personnel. That's a big one. The full scope of misconduct inside that courthouse. Any knowing coordination beyond Fields' admitted conduct. Like, was there a quid pro quo for his wife's job? Was that a condition of his silence? If you don't talk, we'll bring her upstairs. She's still there, too. Do Caroline's referenced letters exist? Who wrote them? Who received them? What warnings do they contain? Were threats documented at all in any way? Are the letters already in the court record? Will the appeal argue that Judge Cohron failed to consider them? And what did Mickey Stines believe was happening when he entered Kevin Mullins' chambers on September 19th, 2024? Was the preacher man more involved in that than what we know? Those are the questions. So now I want you to put paper trail in the chat. Hit the thumbs up, share this show, and subscribe to Hillbilly Crime. And become a member or join us on Patreon, because the full filing analysis, the document archive, and follow-up reporting will always continue there. At least I'm trying to. We are still looking for our 10 $5 super chats tonight. And every bit of that support helps us keep this show going, helps us keep digging. The larger outlets, or the larger outlets arrive late on all of this stuff. And then they leave early. All right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and pray. I hope y'all enjoyed this tonight. Miss Gina, didn't Mickey Stines train Ben Fields to take his place? Yes, ma'am, he did. Because I remember when Mickey was over it for many years. Yeah, Mickey he's the one who started it. And then he trained Ben. Now, I've heard Sabrina say many times that Ben learned everything he knew from Mickey. That Mickey was doing the same thing that Ben was. I know people don't want to hear that, but it's been said, not just by her. Now, I don't think he was doing it like Ben was. Maybe he would hit on a few of them, I had a lady that went to court with her son one time when he was bailiff, and she said he came on to her. He allegedly sent her his pecker pick. Mickey, the woman that he had the affair with for so many years. Like, he had an affair with a woman for like 7 or 8 years who worked at the hospital. I know her. I went to school with her. So I know her really well. I mean, we're not like best friends or anything, but I've known her for many, 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 many years, and she's a bigwig herself. She ain't no slouch. And he got in trouble dating her because that was when he was working as a security guard at the hospital Remember in the deposition, it talks about how he worked as a security guard at the hospital. Well, that's when he started dating that woman. She was a nurse at the hospital. I think she was an emergency room nurse at that time. And they got all chummy there and hooked up there at the hospital. And I think he got in trouble over it. And I was told he was banned from the hospital over that. And I don't know what had happened that got him banned. I don't know if somebody saw him snuggled up out in the ambulance bay or what. I don't know. But I was told he got banned from the hospital after that. And he wasn't even allowed to go up there, like when one of his family members was sick and in the hospital, he wasn't allowed to go up there because he was banned. Now, I don't know how true that is. May not be an ounce of truth to it, but that's what I was told from a very reliable source. So, she told me herself. She was like, he is not who he portrays himself to be, Mickey. And this was after Mickey had shot the judge. I spoke to her. And she was dating him whenever he ran for sheriff. She said by the time that the campaign was over, she was $50,000 less rich. Less wealthy. She said she was always giving him money. She said he was really good at making her feel sorry for him. She said he would call her and give her these big, sad song and dances, like poor, poor, pitiful me stories. And he would see something that he liked and he'd call her and tell her about it. And she'd say, of course, I'd buy it for him, or I'd give him the money and let him buy it. So I think I got the feeling that she felt kind of like a sugar mama, like she was being used in a way. I don't think she said that, but that was just the impression that I got. And it ended many years ago, so they were not seeing each other when this happened. They had ended it, or she ended it, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe he ended it. I don't know. She was hurt. She was very, very hurt by him. However that shook out. But so, and they were together. They dated or saw each other, had an affair for 7 or 8 years. That's a long time. And within that period of time that he was seeing her was also when that woman said she came in and went to court with her son. So, I kind of got the impression that courtroom was like a pickup lounge. The courtroom itself, it was a pickup lounge. Not everybody came to court from the jail. You had people coming from off the street, coming to court. And the same way, it was the same way people coming off the court or out off the street as it was out of the jail. Oh, all right, y'all, man. We've been on here 2 hours. I'm sorry. All right. Thank you, Jesus, for another day being able to come together in your name, Lord. Oh, I praise you, Jesus. I thank you, Lord, for all the blessings on me. I thank you for everything for everything that you do. I thank you for your presence, just being in my life. I thank you for sacrificing your own life for my soul. I praise you, Jesus. I thank you for saving me. I love you, Lord. I pray that you forgive me for my sins and whatever's inside of me that ain't of you. I pray that you remove it and take it out of me. Oh, hallelujah, Lord. I thank you, Jesus. I pray that you'll go with us tonight, Lord, and bring us back tomorrow safely at the appointed time. Heal us all, Lord, from whatever brokenness and wounds we have. I pray for the lost that don't know you. I pray the Holy Spirit will draw them to you, even if he has to bring them to their knees to make them realize. I pray that you bring them to their knees. Go with us tonight, Lord, and bring us back tomorrow safely at the appointed time. And until then, we give you all praise, honor, and glory. In Jesus' name, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Look here. Randy says L.M. Mike Cottle had a brother, Robbie, that run a scrap metal place at premium and sold snow cane openly. And when someone told on him, Mike got it swept under the rug real quick. Well, Mike has worked as a state police officer. Think if I could put all his roles, all his titles down, it'd be like, oh yeah, there he is. He's been a state policeman, and he still goes to all of their stuff, all of it. Doesn't matter what it is. You're going to see L.M. Mike Cottle floating around in the photographs somewhere. Oh, yeah. So, and make sure he keeps those connections, you know. So he was a state policeman. He was, he's a lawyer, and he's worked as a prosecutor. I've never heard that he worked as a defense attorney, so I don't know. He's the CEO of MCHC as an attorney. He's worked child support, so we've heard. I don't know what else. Some big, though. Those are some big connections. Philip says, I can count my friends on one hand. And if y'all really, really think about it, y'all can too. Absolutely. Sure can. That's it. You never know who your friend is ever. Honey, I've seen people that I thought loved me. A story of my life, though. I mean, I guess that's why stuff doesn't really bother me now. I've just been through so much already. But people that I thought loved me, like my pastor's wife, I'll say it. I don't care. She don't talk to me anyway. So, well, I care. My own pastor's wife that I thought loved me, I thought of like a second mother. Would have laid down my life any day. I don't blame someone for protecting their kids and family. I probably do the same thing. But lives were taken, and for that, anyone should be held responsible. You know, people don't realize that even in self-defense situations, you're going to jail. I don't care how threatened you were. 99.9% of the time, if you defend yourself and you're even defending yourself, you're going to jail until you bail out or they give you, you go to trial and are found not guilty. You have to prove your innocence. Even though it says it's backwards. Innocent until proven guilty. Oh, no. Don't get that twisted. No, you ain't. You are guilty until you go to court and prove your innocence. That's how it works. Theory and practice are two completely different things. Completely different things. The judge was a dirty man. About like here in Simpson County, our children prosecuting attorney family court. He likes to pay girls money for exchange. Yeah. It's been a thing here. It's money and alcohol. Chris Cohron was Bowling Green, Kentucky's prosecuting attorney at one time before he got judge. Yeah, I seen the where he was swore in and stuff. If ever there was a case for jury nullification, this is it. Marnie, unless you have a wimpy DA, here where I live, they just aren't indicting people, and people get away with a lot. Yeah, because they have discretion. And I was told last week or sometime that it's the judge's job to make sure that unnecessary litigation doesn't happen. So if it doesn't have to be in the court, they'll dismiss it. And they dismiss a whole lot. Bowling Green, Chris was prosecuting attorney. Yep. If it's moved from the 47th district, they will be denying him a jury of his peers. Yeah, but they've already decided that, Miss Carla. It's moving. He gave them 15 days to come up with a place to agree on a county. So 15 days from that order, they'll have one named. City of Whitesburg grant on steroids. And what is there to show? All right, y'all. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. We got school tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow, y'all. Peace out, Girl Scout. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Let me, Cherry and Max, if you got a gifted membership, please tell them thank you. Let them cook. Ooh, Miss Annette. Woofy. Thank you. Miss Pam, some sparkles. Silver star, another silver star. We like these little interactive things. We like them all. It all helps. Memberships. Thank you, Wolfie. And Marnie. Thank you, Marnie. Sunday. All right, guys. See you tomorrow. Don't let them bed bugs bite. Bye.
Can't hide from hillbilly crime. You can't hide from hillbilly crime. You may not know that there's a crew in town. The head hillbillies are making their rounds. Small town whispers loud and clear. The sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair.
Sheriff got a secret he won't keep. Judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell. Dog passed away, get the sound of a shotgun shell.
All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Neighbors hide behind their blinds. Whisper tales of troubled minds. Skeletons covering the mountainside. A treacherous reality in the pines.
Winter reveals the hidden lies. Moonlight couldn't match the cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise.